I'm a thinker, observer, the baddest man you ever heard of.
All right, welcome back everyone to the 2020 Vision podcast. I'm excited for today's episode. This is episode 8, and we have been rolling through every single episode. I feel like this is an important time as college students and also as 20-year-olds to go through these pivotal moments in our decade of, big moments, experiences, learning a lot about ourselves through college. And so today I have Mr. Harrington here today to talk about the topic of rising to the occasion, what it means to have the feeling of not being left out of things. Also talking about the difference between, experiences that you set up for yourself and experiences that, you get set up through other people, networking and all of that. So how are you today, Mr. Harrington?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and we'll get right to the topic.
Well, again, thank you, Wesley. My name is Arthur Harrington. I attend Hampton University, and I'm from Detroit, Michigan. So I'm excited to get into this amazing conversation today.
Awesome. And so getting into the topic, Arthur, I know, so rising to the occasion, when a lot of people think about what that means, we talk about always having like a moment where you kind of just step back and think about, there are moments in your life where you're like, oh, this is a chance for me to grow. This is a chance for me to come out of my comfort zone. This is a chance for me to really, get out and do something I've never had to do before. And so for rising to the occasion, I think a lot of us as college students, that's like self-awareness and realizing like there's something bigger than what we're doing, at the current time. And I think a lot of college students, when they're thinking about that and rising to the actual occasion, it also comes with procrastination. It comes with things, putting you, are kind of like setting you back and obstacles, putting you back from succeeding. And then also is missing out on opportunities, as there are a lot of opportunities that people miss out on in college and the spaces that they're in, simply because one, they might not know about the opportunity. Two, they might not have gotten out their comfort zone to reach for that opportunity. Or three, they might be kind of like narrow vision to only what they're looking for and not exploring the possibilities. So to start out, what is your meaning of rising to the occasion? I know you are a very busy person. You get a lot done, a big leader just in the world. And so for you, how do you, number one, what does rising to the occasion mean for you? And number two, how do you rise to the occasion, daily, kind of like staying consistent and also making sure that, you don't miss out on any steps or opportunities?
Definitely. So I would say rising to the occasion for me is honestly just trying to be determined. Honestly, I feel like so many times in life we could get knocked down. We can encounter many challenges. We can encounter obstacles. But at the end of the day, we have to understand that that's life. So rising to the occasion is defining those obstacles, stepping out through, whatever fears that you may have, that any hindrances that may be going on in your life, rising above those obstacles to, with the mindset and the goal of achieving. So I would just say that's what rising to the occasion for me is, just having grit and determination to continue to move forward no matter what you're going through in your life. So how I do it a little bit is, you just have to kind of realize what is your purpose. I feel like everybody has a purpose. Everybody has a reason for doing certain things. So you have to understand what is your why. And once you understand what your why is, I feel like that's going to give you a better direction of where to go when it comes to the things that you want to achieve. So to another point of yours, I just want to say real quick is about, people not sometimes being afraid to get involved a little bit. I would just say to those people, it's everyone's on their own path. Everyone's on their own wavelength. So some person may look like, oh, they're a class president, and you may just be starting out, but don't let that hinder you, because that person could be going a different direction, and you may, have something else on your mind. So it's never too late to get started. It's never too late to get involved. And the earlier you do, or the sooner you do, you're definitely going to be able to reap the benefits of that action that you take to step out.
Yeah, and it's important that you talk about, just getting outside your comfort zone, also talking about the comparison between things. 'Cause I think a lot of people, in college and also in their 20s, they compare themselves to what other people are doing and also like the journeys that other people are on. And I feel like, when you compare yourself to other people, you're killing your own opportunities that, could be setting you up for success. And I talk about this all the time with my mentees, with my mentors, like comparison. There's a famous quote by Teddy Roosevelt that says comparison is the killer of joy. And that's something that I truly stand by, because I was that person. I was constantly comparing myself to people, constantly feeling like I had to, have other people's validation to get something done or even try something new. And I think once I got rid of that mindset, I was able to tell myself like, hey, you don't have to compare yourself to anybody. You don't have to, put yourself on this kind of like back and forth track list to like, oh, this is what I'm doing, this is what that person is doing, like they're making me, feel any less or feel any more. I think it's important to just, number one, focus on the journey that you're on, and also focus on the small steps. And like you said, like get outside your comfort zone and try those new things, because I talk about this all the time, like that one little small jump or, opportunity that you take, that might be the one you need to set you up, for future success. And I know as world leaders, as we both are, and also people in our circles, it's important because, and I talk about this in the kind of like Hampton cycle a little bit, because going to the HBCU that we go to, a lot of people, I feel like, are leaders in their own way, but I feel like a lot of them kind of, they take advantage of the position rather than how they can be as a leader. And I've seen it in my own way. Like I've looked up to a lot of leaders at Hampton, but I look up more to the ones who are trying to get others involved and trying to get others to become leaders of their own, because I feel like that's the only way we can kind of like move as a society. Because I feel like if you are just like, oh yeah, I got this small position, I got this, tiny little like leadership position in this organization or this club or whatever I'm doing, I feel like you're just kind of like focused on that position alone. But if you kind of just step out, figure out how you can involve others, and that's why I think, the positions that we are put in or we put ourselves in, it's important to think about that, because you're not doing it for you. And like you talked about, like your purpose, you're doing it for something bigger than yourself. And I think that's what a lot of people have to realize when they're thinking about leading as a whole and rising to the occasion of that, figuring out how you can involve others, how you can inspire others, and how you can have like accumulated goals and results for, as a group, instead of just going like the path of self achievement, and also trying to figure out what you can do for yourself, get others involved, and figure out how to help them get outside their comfort zones to do that as well. So going into kind of like staying on task and keeping like the momentum flowing, how do you feel like in your daily life, being a HBCU student, the things that you do on Capitol Hill, being a leader just in the world, how do you stay on task? I know I've talked to people recently this summer that have said, doing the same thing every single day can kind of like get old and boring, and they feel like sometimes they need a change of momentum. But for you, how do you stay on task? How do you keep your momentum flowing? And if we're taking away like the career stuff, we're taking away the day-to-day work things, what do you do to keep your momentum flowing with inspiration, things you do like outside of work and stuff like that? Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, what I would say, what I do to honestly keep my momentum going is, everybody who knows me, all of my family, all of my friends, they know that I am a dreamer, and I like to envision a lot of things, and I like to envision where I want to be in the future. So besides all of the career things, when I think about my future, where I think about the struggles that I had to go through growing up in the city of Detroit, when I think about all the lack of resources that I had when I was coming up, and things can still be tough sometimes, I think about where I want to be. And not only do I think about where I want to be, I think about the catalyst of change that I want to be for others. I think about all those people, all those young people in the city of Detroit who need somebody to look up to as an inspiration. So I'm not only doing this for me, but I'm doing it for them as well. One of the main people that I look up to is Barack Obama. No, he's not perfect, but he's an image that we can look up to, especially in the field that I'm in the political law field. He's somebody that we can look up to. So at the end of the day, it's sometimes just about having representation. So I want to be a representation for others, and I want to be a representation for my future children, and that's what it's all about for me. So that's what I really look forward to besides the career goals.
Yeah, and it's important that you bring up representation, because I think a lot of people who are looking to do certain careers or looking to do certain things in their life, I feel like representation matters, and having someone that looks like you also in that field or career, that also matters. For me, doing speech therapy, like there are a very few amount of black speech therapists in the world, or speech pathologists to actually use the correct term. And we were talking about this on the last episode. It's like there's a 3.6% of African American speech pathologists in the entire world. Mm-hmm. And trying to change that statistic is very challenging, but also not impossible, right? And I think a lot of that comes with representation, and there's plenty of them out there. I think it's just going to look for, that representation that is going to help you, step out and really go for what you want. And I love what you said about being a dreamer. And I feel like, not to attack our generation, because I feel like, we already have enough problems as it is, but yeah. I feel like a lot of our generation are dreamers, and I feel like a lot of them have very big dreams, because we come from people of past generations who were dreamers also, but accomplished those dreams through, the struggles and the sacrifice of the circumstances that they went through. And I feel like for us, dreaming is a very big difference in the past generations. But I have people who dream every single day, but also don't have the right resources and support to, help those dreams come true. And what you said about being from the inner city and also having a lack of resources, that's important, because there's a lot of people like that in this world. And I feel like the lack of representation in those resources being available, that's something that goes big, beyond what that means. And I think mentorship, as is one of the biggest things that we can incorporate in this world. I believe in mentorship. I know you do. I know there's a lot of people in this world that believe in mentorship, and I can't emphasize enough that mentorship is key to the success of our future generations, because it's not even about, I have this internship, I have this opportunity with this person, or, I'm doing this for the summer. It's about, I met this person who made a difference in my life. I met this person who showed me, a way out of what I was going through or the circumstance I was going through. And then I also met a person who gave me the simplest steps to be a professional. And I feel like a lot of people don't have those resources to learn how to be a professional. Many of us who come from professional backgrounds or professional families, of course, may have had that growing up, but for those who didn't, it's hard to learn that as an adult, because there's no one way of being professional, and there's no one way that you can practice professionalism and practice, networking and connecting with different people. So with that being said, tell me a little bit about, consistent progress. And I know progress is looked at very differently in a lot of people, different eyes. And I know that you have to be direct, you have very consistent progress in a lot of things that you do. So tell me what's key to having a consistent schedule of progress. And when you do have that positive progress, are there lessons and reflections that you look back on? Are there certain things that, you say, I wish I could have did this better? And then also, how can you help those, who struggle with that consistent schedule of progress? How can they, kind of get out their head a little bit and figure out how to, apply it down on paper?
Well, I just say that progress is not always linear, and it's not always what it seems like. A lot of people do go through things on the back end. I go through things on the back end. But I would just say, again, progress is not always linear. And for me personally, I'm in a season of blessings on top of blessings. So while I'm being blessed, at the same time, I'm being taught so many lessons right now this summer. I'm learning so many things that I could have done better. Recognizing places where I should have been, but I'm not, because of, things that I probably could have done better. So I'm just realizing that to whoever's like, looking at other people saying, hey, they're always achieving, they always have an internship for the summer. You always have to, understand, again, comparison's the thief of all joy, but understand you can do it too, and understand that progress is not always linear. So at the same time, I just want to hit that point. Also on the point of mentorship, keeping up these relationships, especially in the Black community, is so important. I agree with you. And we're proponents of that. We can't stress enough the importance of mentorship, especially finding professionals that are Black males. When it comes to us, I would just say is very, very important. I've met so many important mentors of mine, whether it be in the city of Detroit who are executives, or on Capitol Hill, or in DC. These people are teaching me. So at the same time, with our generation, again, we have dreams, but at the same time, we also have to be able to listen. That's another thing. We have dreams. We think we kind of always have it figured out sometimes with people in our generation, but sometimes it comes to a point where you just have to sit back, listen, and take direction. And when you take that direction, God will propel you to your next season in your life. So again, that's what I would just say. Sometimes trying to connect with somebody that you can listen to, that you admire, that they're in the place where you want to be. And again, understanding that progress is not always linear, but as long as you take that first step, everything is going to work out.
Yeah. Listening is key. I honestly can't stress that enough. I tell people all the time, like the biggest component to mentorship is actually being willing to take the mentorship and apply it to different parts of your life. I've had moments in my collegiate career where I definitely thought I knew what was best for my journey, and I thought like, this is what I want, this is what's going to happen. But later on, I found out like I should have taken those different perspectives and learned from them and figured out how I can try different ways to succeed. And so that is a huge component of mentorship, listening to not only your mentors, but listening to yourself and knowing that you can provide some of the feedback to those mentors, because it's not everything obviously that your mentors or people that you look up to or get that give you insight. Not everybody's going to be correct, obviously, because that's how life works. But you can take the different perspectives, critically think about how you can figure out, how to apply them to different situations. And then that'll let you know, what works and what doesn't work. And also let you know, if you are having that, like I said, schedule of progress, and making sure that you have a balance between what's right and what's wrong, and knowing, and then you can go back and have that smart intellectual conversation with the people you look up to and your mentors and say like, okay, I tried this one way, I tried this another way, I gave this a shot, I have this perspective, and that'll let you kind of like check off those things. So in the future, when you're mentoring somebody, you're giving insight to somebody or perspective, it'll help you also become a better mentor. So definitely agree with you on that. And to go to kind of like the last point, talking about balancing time / not feeling left out. And I know one of the biggest things that our generation struggles with today is, number one, is fear of missing out. I think that's something that a lot of people have a struggle with, feeling like, if I can't make it to this thing, if I can't be a part of this thing, if I don't get this opportunity, I'm missing out on something. And then balancing our time is another huge one, making sure that we give certain of our time to different things, what's important, what's not important. We live in a society today where pretty much everything is, online. We're connected online, and everything is obviously spread in a matter of seconds and minutes and milliseconds. So, in your opinion, what do you feel like people can do to balance their time with what they're doing professionally and socially to make sure that they are allowing, certain amounts of growth every time? And then also, what can they do to not feel left out? Because, like you said, the testament of God is sometimes saying that, He's pulling us from certain things so that we can focus our time on what's really important. So what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I would just say sometimes, like I said, sometimes God, like you just said, God will take you from a place where you're not supposed to be and have you basically focus on what you need to focus on. So I think every time I would say it's just about prioritizing what's most important in your life at that moment. What's most important that you feel like you need to be doing, and then also look at the other outside variables. Of course, it's good to have fun. I mean, we're young, we're in a generation where we want to have fun, we want to get active. Of course, that's all great, but at the same time, we are in the most important years of our lives. In our 20s, it is important that we grind, that we work hard, that we make all the connections possible to lay a foundation for our future. And we cannot squander this opportunity. So again, of course, a great work-life balance is important, but at the same time, you have to understand work comes first, then you can go play. They say work hard, play hard. So again, I would just say, that focus on your priorities first, and then you're able to do the extras. In regards to the fear of missing out, I would just say that, that comes with its challenges as well, because everybody wants to be a part of something, and which is great, but at the same time, there are certain places where you're just not supposed to be. There's been many seasons in my life, especially at Hampton University, where I've faced rejections from certain things, and then there will be something that will come the next year that's even better than what I was rejected from. So sometimes, as they always say, rejection is for your protection. Growing up in the Apostolic Church, they say rejection is for your protection. So sometimes when you're rejected from something that you think you're supposed to have, or you're rejected from an event that you thought you were supposed to be at, or you're not invited to, sometimes it's best for you. Sometimes it wasn't in God's plan for it to work out for you that way. But as long as you have the faith, as the Bible says, faith without works is dead. Like you said, we're dreamers, but at the same time, you also have to put in the work. So as long as you put in the work, as long as you continue to have faith in God, have faith in your purpose, have faith in your goals, be disciplined in everything you want to do in your life, everything is going to work out, and there's going to be something better for you at the end of the road.
Absolutely, man. I love that. that hit me really deep in the heart, because what you said about rejection and the idea of feeling like a door has closed, man. I can't tell you enough. There's been so many opportunities where I have gotten the door closed. I have gotten that opportunity rejected, and I used to think it was the end of the world. I really did. I was talking to a recent podcast. Somebody on my podcast recently who I told, failure used to be one of my biggest weaknesses. I used to just feel like it was the end of the world, and I used to feel like my walls were crashing down, and I couldn't move on from it. But then I had to take a turn after doing some research and just realizing that failure is just one step to growth. And I feel like it's like once you take that kind of small signal of failure and you see what you failed at, and it's okay if you fail at it 2 or 3 more times. That's just how life works. You're not going to have everything perfect. During these kind of pivotal moments of our career, being in our young 20s, we're going to fail at so much. And the fact that we're living in a society where the mindset of the old generation is still here, and we're trying to forge our own mindset of what our future is going to look like, I think it's important to think about that we have time, and that not everything has to be rushed. There are plenty of things in this world that are going to come to you, like you said, to one, have patience, 2, trust God's timing, obviously, because it's going to come, and 3, just live in the moment. I feel like so many people kind of try to skip moments that they could be a part of, because it might not be the biggest thing, it might not be the shiniest thing, it might not be the thing that's on top or trending at the moment. But if you have a good opportunity, good thing going on in your life, treasure that, because something else is obviously going to come, and that something might be 100% better, and it's not going to come right away. It might not be tomorrow, next week, or even next month, but say 6 months from now or a year from now, you're in the best shape of your life, mentally, physically, spiritually, and what you're doing time to time until then, that's what's going to help you keep the time flowing, and make sure that you don't have that fear of missing out, making sure that you're staying, balanced, timely, make sure that you're focusing on your goals and what you want to do. So I absolutely agree with you on that. And I definitely think it's important for us as Black men and young Black leaders in this world to emphasize to, the next generation of young Black boys, and also soon to be young Black men, that mentorship is key, and to make sure that you are using every opportunity to network and connect with your people, People that you might just come across one day, may never see them again in life. Don't shut out that opportunity because you just might. There's plenty of people where I meet day to day where I'm like, I might not see this person ever again, but make sure that your presence is felt. Make sure that they know who you are, because the opportunities that you try to set up for the future, that person or something connected to them might help you grow what you want to grow and be a part of what you want to be a part of, and help you in the business that you want to go into, or the field or the career. So for everyone listening, invest, in what you want to do. Make sure that you have support in what you want to do. Also support mentorship. That's something that, we emphasize more than nothing. We will keep emphasizing forever because it's important. You can't do anything in this life without, somebody that's already done it, or somebody that knows how to get to the higher fruits of it, helping you out. And there's only a limited chance, that you will figure it out on your own, because that's how this life works. You need that support system. You need those people to help you, give you a leg up, so that you can have the resource, and that'll help you meet other people that might be in another field or another opportunity that can connect those as well. So that's awesome. But if you have any last things that you want to say, or any advice that you want to give to people who may not be in the season of winning right now, but definitely will be in the coming future, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you. I would just say that I agree with you wholeheartedly. Failure is inevitable. Hardship is inevitable. Challenges are inevitable. Obstacles are inevitable. But at the end of the day, it's about the persistence that counts. If President Barack Obama, he lost his first election, if he would have just given up, he would have never become the president of the United States. There's been so many people who told him that he can't do it. He cannot be the first black. There will never be a black president. But he became a state legislator, and then 4 years after that, he was the president of the United States of America. You cannot give up. Senator Cory Booker lost his first election to be like the mayor of New Jersey or something like that. And then he lost, but then he became the senator of the state of New Jersey. If he would have just given up, there would have been no Cory Booker. So you can't give up. Arthur Harrington coming into Hampton University, my freshman year, it was difficult. It was tough. I made mistakes. I didn't do everything right, and that's something that I can admit. And I'm growing. I'm maturing every day. I lost my first election as class president, but if I would have just been somber, and if I didn't, focus on the task at hand, and if I would have given up, I would have never reached the heights at Hampton University that I have today. So that at the end of the day, you cannot give up. You have to keep pushing. You have to keep pressing, because failure is inevitable. And, people who are actually successful in life, they understand that not everything is perfect. And again, progress is not linear, but you have to keep moving. You got to keep trucking. So that's my advice to anybody.
Absolutely, and that's the golden mindset that you have to live with. Is that failure is going to come at any time, any point in your life. Growth is going to come at any point, any time in your life. Mentorship is something that you definitely should be seeking out at every point and every time in your life. And the success is going to come, when you're least expecting it. So definitely appreciate you, Arthur. I definitely want to voice to those who are just looking to be better every single day, looking to become a better version of themselves every day, and just looking to have extra opportunities in this life. Don't be afraid to reach out to anyone. Don't be afraid to reach out to the simplest form of resource that you can. Network. I can't emphasize it enough, especially for my college seniors this year, especially with moments of homecoming, with moments of different opportunities to meet professionals, meet people. Even you can just go simply. I tell people all the time, you can literally just go on LinkedIn and find what you need. Like, just literally go and connect with somebody on LinkedIn, connect with a professional, connect with somebody in your field, or connect with somebody who knows somebody that can connect you with your field. And I think being a part of that HBCU world allows us to do that wholeheartedly, and it shows us that we have the power to do that, to live confidently as kings and queens, leaders of this world, and people who are going to inspire the next generation to do the same. So
Right.
thank you so much, Arthur. It's been a real pleasure. Thank you to everyone for being on this journey. There's so much more to talk about. I'm just so excited to keep this going and also take it on a bigger scale. Hopefully start getting opportunities with different HBCU promotion marketers and people who can just spread the message to those in college and who attend HBCUs and PWIs who feel like, they don't have an outlet to be themselves. Hopefully this will give them the tools and the resources. So thank you, Arthur. Really appreciate it. And we will see y'all in the next episode.
See ya.